There are many hundreds of characters throughout all of One Piece. Many haven't met, some have, and some are fated to meet again. I'm Dawn of the World, and it's time to shed some light on some of these upcoming reunions. First up, the most anticipated and forefront reunion of the past 1027 chapters since chapter 1, 24 years in the making and climbing, is that of Luffy and Shanks. There aren't many much more iconic moments in the series than that of Shanks giving Luffy his hat and instructing him to return it once he's become a great pirate. And now with Luffy having split the sky in chapter 1026 with Kaido, a feat only before seen done by Yonko such as Shanks himself, this reunion looks like it could be on the horizon. For the first time in 24 years, we can actually see it. They had a near miss of each other back in Marineford, being in pretty much the same place at the same time. However, it was neither the appropriate place nor the appropriate time for this fated meeting. So now, when is this right time? Soon. And the right place? I'm going to go with what a lot of other people are saying and suggest Elbaf. When you spell Elbaf backwards, it spells fable, and at this point in the series, Elbaf really feels like a fabled place that has always existed off somewhere on the vastly distant horizon since it was first mentioned in Little Garden over 20 years ago. In fact, it is the longest anticipated location after Laugh Tale. I remember one of the most exciting things about Big Mom's flashback is that, even if 63 years earlier we were seeing Elbaf in proper for the first time. So a setting as long awaited as Elbaf works as the perfect backdrop for such a momentous reunion. Elbaf is likely not that far off. It could be as soon as the next island, so the stars are aligning for this fated meeting. And what will this mean for the series? I think it'll be the beginning of the end. Alongside Luffy and Shanks, I think a lot of other characters are going to be in Elbaf as well. You could even say everyone and their dad will be there, which brings me to the next reunion. The reunion between Yasopp and Usopp kind of goes hand in hand with Shanks and Luffy, the former two being crew members of the latter two. First things first, I want to establish the fact that I think Yasopp is a terrible father, and this is a Yasopp hate channel. Usopp didn't even know what pirate crew his father was a part of until Luffy told him. Like, Yasopp just up and left, and then his wife died, leaving their child to raise himself because I don't think any of the villagers took him in, and he didn't even visit when his crew spent literally an entire year just a few islands away. In fact, I think Luffy has more memories of Yasopp than Usopp does. That's not good. Even worse to think is that the time Yasopp spent partying it up in Fuchsia Village and making memories with another little boy quite likely coincides with when Bankina got sick and Usopp kept trying to convince her to hold on, that Yasopp had returned. Then of course Bankina passes away, leaving their child to take care of himself, with the added bonus of a host of abandonment issues that manifest in a variety of delightful ways throughout the series. Yasopp, what the f***? There's even like a filler episode where Yasopp beats some guy named Daddy the Father. Now, if the questionable hilarity of that name doesn't get to you, the irony of Yasopp defeating a guy with two paternal titles in his name should. When they do finally meet, likely in Elbaf, I will be kind of disappointed if Oda ignores all of this. I think Usopp will come across as happy at first, but then that could change depending on how the conversation goes. And all of this will hinge on whether or not Yasopp asks a single question. How's your mum going? I think if he asks this, like, the energy is going to completely shift. She died 13 years ago? And I know that Usopp said, like, at the very start of the series that he's proud of his father, but the thing is that about Usopp is that he lies, and sometimes he even lies to himself. There could be some deep down resentment that only resurfaces once he and his dad come face to face. And from there, I would love to see Usopp's true feelings on the matter come to light, and for him to say something like, I can't believe I used to be proud of you. And then maybe from there, throughout the rest of the arc, there'll be some kind of arc of reconciliation and whatever. But anyway, this is a Yasopp hate channel. On the segue of awkward family reunions, we also have Luffy and Garp. Now, Garp is a wonderfully complicated man who has all the best intentions, but you know, he made probably the wrong decision back in Marineford when he put his duty as a Marine above his family, and I think he ultimately regrets that. His last meeting with Luffy was very bad, but I have to say it was also so well done. We really see the conflict within him as his confrontation with Luffy is intercut with memories of Luffy's childhood, and this makes for a highly emotional moment. And the fact that this was the last time he and Luffy interacted makes me think the next time they meet, one way or another, will be very interesting. However, at the end of the day, Garp does love his grandsons, and I think that he and Luffy will make peace with each other before the end of the series. I also think about his current and future actions as a Marine, and part of this is the reason behind me thinking that Sabo and Vivi are actually okay, and that Garp may have secretly helped them escape after Reverie. As for when this reunion between Garp and Luffy does happen, I can't really say. If Marines show up at the end of Wano, maybe it could happen as soon as then, but I don't think so. Otherwise, closer towards the end of the series, when a group of the Marines, perhaps Sword, form an alliance with Luffy's Grand Fleet, then maybe Garp would be among them, but I don't know, remains to be seen. Some other family reunions I'm looking forward to seeing include Momo and Hiyori, which could be happening soon. I forget whose video it was on, but I saw someone leave a comment saying that Momo and Hiyori, when they reunite, may each mistake the other for their parents, which I think would be really precious but also really sad. There's also Kinemon and Otsuru. Kinemon is fine, okay? He's fine. Keeping in mind that the Fire Festival involves something about the spirits of the dead, it could be interesting to see how this manifests. One big group reunion that I really, really hope we see before the end of the series is that of the remaining Roger pirates. Like, could you even imagine the stir that would cause? I'm talking Rayleigh, I'm talking Crocus, I'm talking Shanks, I'm talking Buggy, I'm talking all those other guys that are probably still out there somewhere. I'm talking Neko, I'm talking Inu. Could you imagine like a future chapter somewhere a couple of years down the line ending with a double page spread of all of the surviving Roger pirates reassemble? That would be the coolest. Also, I wonder where the Oro Jackson might be and if we'll get to see it at some point. If so, I really hope that Frankie gets to see it and spend some time aboard. I'm sure he would really love that. I think it's possible the Oro Jackson could be with one of the other Roger pirates, maybe with the helmsman, and that they'll bring it with them when they all reunite. After all, as far as we know, the Oro Jackson is the only ship to have made it to Laugh Tale. On the topic of crew reunions, or should I say crew unions, on the topic of recreunions, another one that I'm looking forward to is that of Vivi and the Straw Hats, which is also a long time coming. I think it's been around 20 years now for us since that famous moment when Vivi asked the departing crew if they ever saw each other again they'd still call her their nakama, and they responded with a resounding yes, by each lifting their arms marked with the X proving their friendship. Since then, whenever anything major has happened involving the crew, we've been shown Vivi's reaction. She may not physically be with them, but she's following their journey closely regardless. As I stated earlier in this video, I think it's possible Garp may have helped Vivi and Sabo both escape the conundrum at the Reverie. I could go into a whole off-topic ramble about the possibility of the current state of Alabasta, but maybe I'll save that for something else. What I do think though is that wherever Vivi is, she's with Sabo, and that her reunion with the Straw Hats could be happening as soon as next year. I'm expecting this to be a really heartwarming and beautiful moment, and I'm just really excited just to think about it. Like, so much has happened since she was last with them. They've all grown so much, they've all changed so much, and I'm expecting this to be a really joyous moment. I'm also really excited for her to meet the newer crew members, being Frankie, Brooke and Junbei, who are technically her nakama despite never having actually met. The person in the crew who I'm most interested in seeing Vivi's reunion with though, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say the same, is Robin. Vivi and Robin have met, but you couldn't really call any single one of their interactions good, could you? Robin was Miss All Sunday, the partner of Crocodile, who was aiming to crash Alabasta after all. Crazy thing is though that Robin and Vivi have both found refuge and affinity beneath the same straw hat, and are technically nakama, but as already stated, all of their interactions have been bad. Very bad. Not good. Almost kind of comparable to Usopp and Frankie's first meeting, but again, not quite. Usopp and Frankie do go on to have one of the best relationships in the crew though, for what it's worth. So I love how Frankie and Robin like both start out as these antagonistic underworld figures and then get totally domesticated as like mother and father figures of the crew. I find that adorable. And yes, I can see some of you saying, but Frankie isn't the dad anymore, Jinbei is. And to that I say, shh. Be quiet. Yes, he is. Did you see him in 1027 with Zoro? He has so much dad energy still. The crew can have second dad. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. I said what I said. I'm thinking about making a series called Dad Piece, actually, where I talk about all the dads in the series. But anyway, I was talking about Vivi and Robin. When Vivi's impending reunion with the crew does take place, Robin's likely going to feel understandably awkward. Here's the thing though, as already stated, Vivi has closely been following the Straw Hats' journey. She has complete and utter faith in Luffy and the crew, and the fact that they were willing to declare war on the world for Miss All Sunday must mean that Miss All Sunday wasn't exactly the person Vivi came to know her as. Furthermore, at some point I'm sure Cobra would have told Vivi about what happened down in the tombs, so Vivi would know that Miss All Sunday likely isn't a bad person. And lastly, being formerly Miss Wednesday herself, Vivi would understand the personaship of Baroque works and would realize that she never truly met Robin. She met Miss All Sunday. Being the diplomatic and kind-hearted sweetheart that she is, I doubt Vivi would carry much, if any, resentment towards Robin at this point. What I would love to see from this reunion though is kind of Vivi getting acquainted and reacquainted with the rest of the crew, and maybe Robin standing back a bit, feeling awkward about it all. And Vivi just goes over to her and gives her a hug and tells her it's okay, and then just takes her hand and goes and rejoins the rest of the crew. That would just warm my cold, dry heart. At any rate, I think Oda is definitely going to put some effort into showcasing a lot of Robin and Vivi's interactions and developing their relationship when the time comes, and I can't wait to see it. Now, I couldn't call myself a Brook fan and not include Brook and Laboon. I have to say that one of my favourite plot twists in the series is finding out that the crew that Laboon had been waiting for so long was Brook and the Rumbar Pirates. So many chapters later. I really have to wonder how and when this one would take place, because it feels like such an endgame thing. It could involve the destruction of the Red Line and or the discovery of the One Piece. But one thing is for certain, Binks Sake will be played. And then I'm gonna lie down in the dirt and let the earth slowly reclaim me. Now, there are a ton of other potential meetings we might see later in the series, or will see later in the series, such as Luffy with Kobe, maybe Sanji and Gin if he's still out there somewhere. Nami and Arlong could potentially be interesting, and by extension Jinbei and Arlong. And of course we have Usopp and Kaya, and Chopper and Kureha, and pretty much anyone and people from their pasts. Luffy and Dan. I love Dan so much. And last but not least, not a reunion but a long-fated meeting would be you and my subscribe button, so that you can stay in the loop for more upcoming One Piece talk. And there's probably loads more reunions that I've neglected to mention, but let me know any reunions that you're looking forward to down in the comment section. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm Dawn of the World, and I will see you next time. Later, guys.